Hi, welcome to Acadiana Skies. I'm Dave Hostetter, curator of the Planetarium at the Lafayette Science Museum. This week, go outside just as the sky is beginning to get dark and look over in the western sky. During twilight, you'll be able to see very bright Venus and, in fact, the planet Mercury up above it, and the moon's going to show up also as a very thin crescent. One thing you will not see over there, though, is an imaginary line called the ecliptic. This is the plane of the Earth's orbit extended out into the sky, and that's where the planets, the sun, and the moon stay. They never move very far away from that part of the sky. As we go through the evening, though, watch what happens. As it gets later, Venus sets, and then Mercury sets. So you do have to look for them very early, and in fact, I'd recommend looking during twilight, starting around 8:15 or so. Then, if you want to look at some stars, look over toward the north, and over in the northern part of the sky, you're going to find the famous Big Dipper. The Big Dipper is part of the constellation Ursa Major, the larger bear. But when astronomers look at that part of the sky, they see not only that constellation figure, they also see constellation boundaries. And this is the way that astronomers often think about constellations. It's a region of the sky, much like a state is part of the country and has boundaries. Constellations have boundaries too, and if we say that something is in Ursa Major or in Draco or in Orion, what we mean is, seen from Earth, that object is seen in the same direction as the stars of that constellation. Then look over toward the east. We can still follow the curve or arc of the Big Dipper's handle. Follow the arc to Arcturus, a bright reddish-orange star over there in the eastern sky. Well, if you wanted to tell people where to look for it, you might use altitude and azimuth, which is a coordinate system that astronomers use to find things in the sky. Altitude is a measure of how far above the horizon something is, where 0 is at the horizon and 90 degrees is high overhead. Azimuth is measured along the horizon. North is 0 degrees, east is 90, south is 180, west is 270. And so we could look at Arcturus and say, well, it's got an altitude and an azimuth of about 65 degrees altitude and about 111 degrees of azimuth, something like that. So that would tell you where it is in the sky. Now, the problem that we have is that that only works for people that are very near you. If people are far to the north or south, far to the east or west, or looking at a different time of night, they're going to see Arcturus at a different altitude and azimuth. Let's go through the night, watch Arcturus, watch what happens to it, and you can see that it shifts. Its altitude and azimuth changes. And by the time we get to 10:30, it's in a little bit different part of the sky. And that's kind of a problem if you are trying to tell other people where to find something in the sky. They have to convert from your position in time to their position in time. So another way that astronomers measure positions in the sky is to use right ascension and declination. Here, 0 is the celestial equator, an extension of the Earth's equator into the sky. And just as here on Earth we have latitude and longitude, with latitude measured north and south of the equator, here we have the same type of thing, but it's called declination, measured north or south of the equator. And distances along the equator in the sky are measured in right ascension in hours, minutes, and seconds rather than degrees. That's very handy for astronomers. Watch Arcturus here. As the Earth rotates, it will seem to move across the sky, but its right ascension and declination goes with it. So each star has its own right ascension and declination, and if you tell an astronomer where something's right ascension and declination is, it'll be the same for people all over the world. There are changes in right ascension and declination over the course of centuries, but it's not real important for just everyday type of stuff. So there are a lot of things up there in the sky besides just constellation figures. It's kind of like going and looking at a painting with a skilled artist. That artist is probably going to see more subtlety than the average person would. And if you go out and look at the nighttime sky, astronomers are probably seeing more things in the sky than the average person does. In addition to the asterisms and constellations and things like that, they are seeing these different grids and so forth and lines up in the sky. But I'd like to encourage you to go out and take a look around, see if you can find some of these things, and as you find them, don't forget to show them to your friends and family, because lots of people like to be able to find things up there in the sky. Thanks for being with us.